Welcome to another episode of Beyond Four Walls, where today we will delve into the inspiring story of Nick Gazzard, founder of the Hollie Gazzard Trust. Today we explore Nick's journey, his unwavering commitment to creating positive change, and the impactful legacy he's building through the trust, named after his daughter Hollie. Get ready for an insightful conversation on resilience, advocacy, and the power of turning personal tragedy into a force for good. Nick, welcome. Thank you for being on my podcast today. Can you start by telling us about Hollie's story and why the trust was set up?
Yes, thank you, Jodie, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to you today, but also talk about Hollie, because I love talking about Hollie. Hollie was 19 years of age back in 2013, and she got into a relationship which was unhealthy, and during the last 12 months of Hollie's life, she was subjected to coercive controlling behaviour, stalking, sexual harassment, and this all culminated in February 2014 when her ex-partner walked into the salon where she worked in the centre of Gloucester and he stabbed her to death. So the trust was born out of Hollie's tragedy. When Hollie was killed, I thought that I didn't want Hollie just to be another statistic. I wanted something positive to come out of her life, and I also wanted to ensure that we did all we could to prevent the Hollies of the future happening, and also prevent parents going through what we go through on a daily basis. So I thought about starting a charity whereby we can help other people, and at that stage my intention was, if we just help one person, then Hollie's life was not in vain. Fast forward now to 10 years on, we've helped so many people, and we've built a charity which is recognised not only locally but nationally, and we help an enormous amount of people through the various projects, training, workshops, and also our personal safety Hollie Guard that we run. I've never could have imagined how the trust would develop over those 10 years, but I'm really proud to say that we are affecting so many people's lives in a positive way.
That's amazing. So what are the key objectives and mission for the trust at the moment?
Well, the trust has three main aims, and the first one is to raise awareness of the issues that Hollie faced. And in the main we talk about domestic abuse, coercive controlling behaviour, stalking. And when I look back when Hollie was around, she would not have identified with these issues, as we didn't as her parents. And a lot of that comes from her not being aware, us not being aware as parents, but also she didn't have that education when she was at school. So our first aim as a trust is to raise the awareness, because we must start to talk about these issues, because that's the only way that we will get young people to understand what's happening to them. The second area is around providing education, and we run a number of workshops and programs that we built over the last 10 years from our experience, and we run those in all sorts of organisations, from schools to colleges to universities, police forces, businesses, other organisations, and we help a vast number of people around the country through our training and education. So that's the second aim. And the third aim is around trying to help prevent these things from happening. And this is where Hollie Guard, our personal safety app, comes in. Hollie Guard is an app that you can download to any smartphone. It's free to download and it's free to use. And we have over 500,000 people currently using Hollie Guard on a regular basis. And we know it saves lives from the feedback that we've had. So that prevention part of the Trust's work through the Hollie Guard app is really important. And I'm the first to say that, these things should not be necessary. I would love the day when we can stop doing what we're doing, because that means that we've solved the issues of violence against women and girls, but I think that's a long way off.
One of the reasons why we met was because I heard about the app, which is amazing and certainly something that in the property management industry is absolutely needed. We go out on our own a lot. There's a lot of lone working, there's evening meetings, things that can be done in the dark, when all we're going into people's properties and we don't know, not just in block management, but in property management in general, estate agents and letting agents as well as block managers. Can you give us an example of how the app has, or an idea of when somebody was helped with the app? Is that something, any feedback you can give?
Yes, we have lots of feedback from individuals, and as you've identified there, the app can be used in all sorts of ways. It's not just for victims of crime, but actually it can help keep anyone safe no matter what your age or no matter what you do. So property managers, block managers, school kids, university students, police officers, it goes across the piece. And I've just given an example. I had some feedback from a dad actually a few months ago where he said that his son has the app, and he was riding his bike with some friends, and they came across another group of older males, and they told them to get off their bikes and hand their bikes over. So what this young lad did was he had Hollie Guard on his phone active, so he just shook the phone and it started to send out that piercing sound, strobe lighting, and they could see that something was happening, and they ran away. So the dad wrote to me and said, this stopped my son from having his bike stolen, but also I think it stopped him from being beaten up by this gang of youths. So that's just a very, very simple way as to how Hollie Guard can help someone.
The inspiration around the development of it, how did that work? How did that kind of come onto your radar to do an app in the first place?
We're not the developers of the app, that's another commercial company. But my other daughter, Hollie's sister, met someone one day. She was with a partner and she had one of the Hollie Gazzard Trust wristbands on, and the chap said, talk to me a little bit about what you've got there. And she told him about what happened to Hollie and said, perhaps I can help you. We have an app which we are starting to issue as a part of a security package. Give me a call and perhaps we can sit down and talk about it. And that was how Hollie Guard was born. It was another app used for something different. We morphed it into Hollie Guard. We've worked with the developers over the last 8 years to continually develop it in accordance with our user feedback, and it's become this really all-encompassing personal safety app that does amazing things. So that's how it came about.
It's very important, not from I'm tracking all of my property managers situation, but just to know that my team are safe. The meeting function on the app and the journey function is amazing. So are there any specific features or functionalities that you think property managers should be aware of?
I think the first thing to say about the app is that the whole power of the app is in the hands of the user. So they choose who to have as their emergency contacts. No one can track you by the app if you don't want to be tracked. It allows a user to notify their emergency contacts if they are potentially in trouble. So let's say I'm a property manager, I'm going out to a property. I could put you as my boss, or I could put my partner or someone in the office as my emergency contacts, and I can change those whenever I want to. And I can choose who the alerts go to. So, as you mentioned a couple of the features there are lots of features that can help with property managers, and I know lots of people get into skirmishes, maybe harassment. The report feature I think is really important in the app, because anything happens to you, anything at all, you can make a report on Hollie Guard through the report feature. You can even add a photo or a text screen, and that gets saved to your account, which is in the cloud, so it's not even on your phone. And you can build up this body of evidence that if anything happens to you, you've got that evidence to be able to give to either your employer or the police to help with any potential prosecutions.
Yeah, and I think that's really important what you said about you're in control and you make the decision as to who your emergency contacts are. It could be that it's not a client, or it's not somebody that you're worried about going out to their property or anything like that. It could be somebody that you work with every day that's causing you some problems. Your employers might not believe you or might not have the processes in place to do anything about it. The report function, certainly from all aspects of harassment, bullying, doesn't have to be a physical attack or anything like that, does it?
No, that's right. I think the other beauty about it is the Hollie Guard Extra, which is the upgraded version, which is a paid-for version. It doesn't cost that much. But what that means is that any of your alerts are sent to a police-approved 24 monitoring centre that can act on your behalf, and they can take action very quickly. And if they see you're in trouble, because it sends them the voice and and the video, they can get in contact with the local police and get those police out there to help keep you safe. So I think the Hollie Guard Extra is really, really important for property managers in particular, as it is for a number of other people who perhaps need a little bit more than the average security of alerts going to family members or friends, because they might not want to bother their family members or friends, or might not want to even let them know what's happening to them. And this is where the police-approved 24/7 monitoring centre can be really, really valuable. And of course, all this evidence is admissible in court. So if it does go to court, it can be taken into consideration.
How has the app been received within the property management community, do you think? From my perspective, my team have got it, I've got it. It's something that I promote whenever I do anything. But you've got a few people from the property management industry who are using the app. Is it something that you believe has been well received?
From the feedback that we've had, we think it's been well received. I think it's like a lot of things, you just have to keep reinforcing that message and getting the message out there as to what the app can do, what is its full range of functionality, and really put into place the practical applications of the app and how that can help, particularly property managers in their everyday working lives. So give them some scenarios as to how it can help them. It's a must for every property manager, and the more people in this industry that champion it, the safer I think the industry becomes. Yeah,
definitely. Do you see the app evolving to address any changes in the law or changes in people's needs? I think I heard a story the other day where she didn't have the app, but she was attacked doing her job. Horrendous, obviously. Her phone was in her bag. Are there any plans to evolve how we use the app at all?
We're always looking to develop the app, and we sent out a recent development via the App Store, and this was for what we call pins in maps. And basically we're working with the local BIDs in the areas to identify areas and buildings where there are safe spaces, so that when you log into Hollie Guard, it gives you a map of your area and it will pinpoint the safe spaces. So if you want to go to a safe space, you can click on the pin, click on the journey feature, and it will take you there.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's a recent development, and that's only just come out. The other area that we're working on, which is available fairly shortly, is that you'll be able to activate the meetings feature and the alert feature via either a pendant or a brooch or a wristband. You don't have to physically have your phone even with you, as long as it's within, I think, 30 to 50 metres. So if a property manager has a phone in the pocket and they wanted to send the alert, if they have the wristband, all they do is click the wristband and the alert's sent. We're developing gadgets, if you want to call it, all the time that will help improve the usability of the app, particularly for certain professions.
That would be brilliant, I think. Sometimes, when I've worked in other industries, or certainly in other companies, you're given like a key fob or something like that, but everything needs to change and evolve, doesn't it?
Inside the app, there's a questionnaire you can complete, which asks you, what other types of features you would like to see.
So that's exciting.
It's for me, the app is only as good as what the user thinks it is.
You do a lot of educational initiatives and you go to schools and businesses. So what type of training and courses and that sort of thing can you offer through the Trust?
We do a lot of work in schools, Key Stage 3, Key Stage 4 and actually Key Stage 5. All this links back to what happened to Hollie. So courses on coercive controlling behaviour, how to identify it and what to do. Stalking behaviours, how to identify what to do, how to keep safe. We're just piloting a new program called Rethinking Masculinity, and that's really to try and combat some of the negatives around social media on how young males have to act. So trying to put some real positive role models. So that's being rolled out in schools. We do work on knife crime, because obviously Hollie lost her life as a result of a knife. A lot of work around active bystander, how you can get involved, when you should get involved, what you can do, what you shouldn't do, and how you can still keep yourself safe but potentially help someone else. We also do a version for businesses. We run a male allies training for males on how they can help the fight against violence against women and girls. We also do some work around bystander intervention, so how you can get involved maybe in the office, maybe outside when you're performing your role. So we do a lot of work in businesses as well. We have a programme called Working Without Fear, which is a whole day of workshops around domestic abuse and stalking and the effect that this has on an individual, because they can't just leave it at home. It affects them when they're at work. We do a lot of work around that with the business in terms of the impact that this has on the business, but also what you can do, how you can help those individuals, how you can create those cultures where people can feel comfortable coming forward because they know that the businesses will help, how to have those difficult conversations when someone reports it if you're a manager, how you can signpost people. So a whole host of things which are really practical and will help, managers and directors make their business somewhere where a person can feel safe.
We've spoken a lot today about the app and about the courses and why you set up the trust, the tragic loss of your daughter. And personally, I've got so much admiration for you. Since the trust started, how do you think it has impacted the community? So just your local community.
When you talk to people in the local community, they are aware of us, the Hollie Gazzard Trust, but they don't necessarily know what we do. And this is one of the things that we've got to try and increase our profile on, is to tell people what we do, because when we start to tell people the range of things that we do and how we can help, they are wowed. And we've evolved over the last 10 years to be able to provide all of this now to all sorts of organisations within our communities, businesses, schools, colleges, universities, faith groups, police forces, you name it, scouts, foster parents. It's not until you get to talk to those individuals that they are fully aware of the vast array of things that we can do, and we can impact the community. And we're all about trying to impact the community in a very positive way to try and help prevent these things from happening. But if they are happening, for me, it's about prevention.
Because you did a Netflix documentary, didn't you?
Yeah, we've done, I think it's 7 or 8 documentaries over the last 9 years with different organisations. And these all come from a slightly different angle, because I don't want to do the same thing twice, because there's no need. So when we do get approached by production companies, we find out what their motivation is, how it's going to be played, what is the angle they're coming from, and really, are we improving the education of people's lives? I must say that they're very hard to do, because you have to dig deep, you have to answer lots of questions in a very short space of time, keep that composure, but it hurts, it does hurt to dig that deep. And the Netflix one, we decided to do, my daughter and I, because most young people now stream TV. They don't watch mainstream BBC ITV, so Netflix is very popular with young people, and therefore for us it was the right medium now to try and get our message out there and trying to help people who are going through what Hollie went through.
Yeah.
And we've had some fantastic feedback, not only in this country, but the good thing about streaming is there's no boundaries. So we have a huge amount of feedback from the United States, Australia, all around the world.
But the app is only available in the UK at the moment?
The app is only available in the UK. Whilst we give it away free, the basic version, it does cost us as a trust, and it costs us about £50,000 to run it every year. And the more people that use it, the more it costs us. It got quite popular outside the UK, and we didn't want to go bankrupt. So, but if you download it in the UK, you can use it anywhere in the world. We're not statutory funded, we don't have any grant funding, we have to raise all the money ourselves. Hopefully, one day we'll be able to open it up to other countries as well.
But your training you can do via the internet, and via Zoom or Teams or whatever, you can do that wherever.
We do a lot of online training.
Coming up to the 10-year commemoration of the trust, do you have any future plans or goals?
As you say, it's our 10th anniversary in February, so 2024 will be our 10th anniversary year, and we will commemorate that with a whole host of events that we're running, some really exciting ones. And hopefully we can raise lots of money as well to continue to do what we do. I suppose my long-term aim is that we can close the trust down because we won't be necessary.
Make yourself redundant in a way.
But in the medium term to long term, we just keep doing what we're doing, developing the programs and the training workshops, delivering to more people, getting around the country, making an impact on more and more people's lives, increasing the amount of users that we've got on Hollie Guard and Hollie Guard Extra in particular.
Doing the work that you do for the trust and keeping Hollie's memory alive is obviously something that keeps you going. What challenges have you faced running a charity, and how have you overcome them?
I think there have been lots of challenges along the way. Setting a charity up is very difficult.
Yeah.
And finance is a massive one. We get a couple of small grants. This year we need £200,000 just to stand still. And we have to raise all that money ourselves from the general public, from businesses, from our ambassador programs. And it's getting harder and harder with the current state of the economy.
Yeah.
We're not the only charity that has that particular challenge. I'm sure a lot of charities are suffering at the moment because of the state of the economy. I will continue as long as I can, and I'm in no way, shape at the moment of giving up, because I think there's so much more we can do out there. And hopefully the staff that we have here at the trust, the trustees, the volunteers, are all aligned and going to come with us on this horrible word, but on this journey. Because we are quite an agile trust, we can actually move very quickly if something comes up which is particularly needs working on. Whether that's a different training program, a different workshop, a different sector of the market, we will do what we can.
Thank you so much for speaking to me today. How can everybody find you or the trust? Can they contact you?
If they just Google Hollie Gazzard, then the trust will come up. It's holliegazzard.org is a website. But if you just put in Hollie Gazzard, all these things will come up. If you're a business and you're looking for a charity of the year, we'd be delighted if you would choose us, and we will work with you. We do see our charities of the year being a partnership, not one way. So we will work with the business to help them as well, whether that's training or whatever. And we like to help them with their fundraising. So anything you can do to further the cause of the trust, we'd be very, very grateful.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Nick, and we hope to hear more from you soon.
You're very welcome. Thank you.